Hey, so this is a new thing I'm going to start doing, and this is called Welcome to the ISO Cubes. Um, ISO Cubes is a reference to a thing from 2000 AD from Judge Dredd strips. It's basically their terminology for prisons, isolation cubes. So, what I'm going to do with Welcome to the ISO Cubes, I'm going to just give like an overview. I'm not going to give a review of any stories, but going to give an overview of the past 4 weeks, so a month in 2000 AD. Because I'm sure there's a lot of you who are in the States who don't get 2000 AD on a weekly basis. You might just get like the collections or read it online or something like this. So let's give you a look at what we get every week in the UK. So start with Prog 2373. This was from I think the second week in March, so really nice full back and front full size cover. The cover is by Stuart K. Moore. What's good about 2000 AD as well, Just Read magazine, you can get the covers each week. They'll reprint them in poster size, high quality poster size. If you go to 2000ad.com, you can buy them from there or from the Rebellion website as well. And yeah, so it's the artwork without any prints or anything on it, just the artwork. And yeah, I think it's a really good idea because it means you can get some nice original art prints for your house. So the first one is a one strip, a one and done story for Judge Dredd, because there was a big epic what they've just finished, and this is Judge Dredd RUR, and it's by Ken Neiman, art by Niccolo Azzarilli. I don't know how this is going to work, so just show the artwork. What I love with Judge Dredd being weekly, the art can change from week to week quite drastically, or if or they'll have maybe have two artists on like a big epic, and then for the one shots they'll try a new artist. This artist in a few bit strips, but not many Judge Dredd ones, and they're very different to some of the in-house Judge Dredd artists. And then one of my favourite strips, Indigo Prime. This is part 3 of the story called Black Monday. Indigo Prime is basically the most surreal sci-fi crime story you can get. They basically travel through time, travel through realities. This is like the multi-dimensional multiverse story you wish Marvel or DC would do. It's much more as if Michael Moorcock kind of sci-fi feel to it, Jerry Cornelius. And the artwork is absolutely gorgeous. The art is by Lee Carter, and the writer is Keck W. John Smith was the one who created Indigo Prime, but he's kind of like dropped off the radar a bit now with comics. I don't know if he's moved into doing something else now, but it's still a fun, very surreal story. Quite a bit of gore in it as well, as you can see with that top panel. And then they jump gear completely in style. This is what I like about 2000 AD. The strips are so different from each other. So this one started off in the 2000 AD Regened comic, which was aimed at a younger market, but it's coming to its own in the regular 2000 AD strips. And it's Full Tilt Boogie by Alex De Campi and Eduardo Ocana. It's got a very European humanoid kind of flavour to it. It's a fun story about this group of people. One of them is a princess, and the others, they start they're like almost like a freight carrier kind of company, and they get into all types of adventures. Really, really good, refreshing strip. And then after this is one of the darkest strips that 2000 AD do, and that's The Fall of Dead World. This is Retribution. This is part 11 by Keck W again writing, and Dave Kendall on art. So again, a really different style of art. Very dark, very, very, very weird and bloodthirsty. This basically is set in the world of Judge Death. So it's kind of like the polar opposite of Mega City. This is Mega City basically without any hope, where the judges are the bad guys. And then my favourite strip in 2008 months is Thistlebone, and this is book 3 by T.C. Eglinton and Simon Davis. This is folk horror. This particular volume of the story, gorgeous artwork as you can see, is set in the 1970s about a film production company. It's just one of the best comic stories, full stop, no matter what company it's from. I do recommend you hunting out the first two hardback collections of Volume 1 and Volume 2, which you can get from 2000ed.com, the Amazon site. And then we move on to Prog 2374. This is the week afterwards. Really nice Judge Death post cover on the front there, which, like I said, you could order as a art print. It's by Tony Wilsmer. So this is the Fall of Dead World LinkedIn cover. Then there's a one strip, Judge Dredd strip again. It's called The Dimensional Traveller's Guide to Mega City 1 by Ken Neiman on writing, Joe Currier artwork. Again, totally different tonally art style from the previous issue. This is an artist I'm not familiar with. This is why I like to take big risks with art. They'll give them a chance on like the major character 2000. I mean, don't get more top billing than Judge Dredd in 2000 AD. And to give a quite a new artist a chance that is really, really good. So that's a one and done story. And then we carry on with Indigo Prime. And the colour scheme on that page is gorgeous. You can get a few collections of Indigo Prime on Loot webshop from 2000ad.com, and do recommend hunting them out if you want some sci-fi that is a bit mind-bendy. Very much like Grant Morrison style of sci-fi, and this splash page is just amazing. All those different ships and beings. So they play with form, colour, dimensions, and even play with the layout of the page as well. As you can see here, you incorporate black and white with colour, just for a plot progression. Full Tilt Boogie continues. I love that opening page. The colour scheme is so nice on that. And then we move on to the next episode of Fall of Dead World. I just want to show you this splash page. Is so ugly gorgeous, if you get what I mean. It's just really striking and grotesque at the same time. Like I said, Fall of Dead World is one of the darkest strips I've read in comics. There's basically no hope in it, but it's kind of compelling at the same time. And then Fussabone carries on. As I said previously, quite possibly the finest horror story in comics. It would sit quite, if you're a fan of Mike Mignola's Hellboy and how he uses folklore in his horror comics, I think you'd be impressed with this. And then from there we move. Every so often they do like a bumper issue, which is this one. And this is, they say it's for new readers, but there's like 2 or 3 strips that are ongoing in here, but there are about 4 new strips in as well. This is Prog 2375. So John McCrae on the cover. I love that old school kind of cover. Very, very Cam Kennedy, Mick Mann style of Judge Dredd. I like the little bubbles of the different characters. So you have Proteus Vex there, who's again like an alien superhero vigilante spacefarer. So you've got Thistlebone there, and Rogue Trooper makes an appearance because obviously there's a Rogue Trooper film coming out in 2025. So this is the start of I think it's a multi-episode Judge Dredd strip, Next Man Up, by Rob Williams, who's written some of the best Judge Dredd comics, and art by Oren Guerra, who, if you've read Scouts by Jason Aaron, who's the artist for Scouts, and it's so nice in his interpretation of Judge Dredd. Does a really, really nice job on the strip here. And there's an advert of a comic strip coming into 2000 AD soon. If you remember Hawk the Slayer, Rebellion got the rights to Hawk, and they did a mini series a while ago of Hawk the Slayer with um, Henry Flint on the artwork and Garth Ennis on the writing. This time it's written by Alec Worley and Sam Colby, but I don't think that's Sam Colby doing the cover on that one. But gorgeous cover. Can't wait for this to come in 2000 AD. Nice bit of bloody sword and sorcery. Full Tilt Boogie continues. Again, another great opening page. I'll just whiz through the full tilt and focus on some of the strips what aren't in previous issues. So Fist of Bone, again, that use of colour by Sam Davis is just so nice. It's colours that really shouldn't work. There's never like traditional colouring with his art, with his painting style. Like I love the shade of blues and purples in there, and the golds and yellows and oranges on that page to signify mood or change in tone. And then bam, you've got the horror just there coming up. And then Indigo Prime, as you can see, we've now shifted from colour. It's complete black and white. Again, it ties into story, but then it tonally shifts again in colour. Very clever use and a clever storytelling technique. As evidence here. And then there's a one and done story featuring Rogue Trooper by David Barnett, who I'm not familiar with, and Paul Marshall, who's a 2000 AD regular artist. But it's just a one and done, but setting the groundwork for a new strip, Rogue Trooper, which will be appearing soon. Just good arts, nothing that may go, wow, fantastic, but it's just good. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. It's not workmanlike, it's just solid artwork with nice colouring. Rogue Trooper's coming back for an ongoing story very soon. And then Proteus Vex comes back. He's kind of making a name as a new popular character. Very what 2000 AD like to do is they don't do your standard good-looking heroes. That heroes are normally faceless or alien, not human a lot of the time. Like Nemesis the Warlock was an alien, and Proteus Vex is the same. In fact, there's no humans either in protagonists or antagonists in this strip. They're all alien cultures, which is quite unique for a lot of strips these days. And yeah, it's a fun read. And then this is the latest issue, covered by Oranguera. Lovely, beautiful cover, that really nice Judge Dredd image there. So he continues on the story. The colourists in 2000 AD are some of the best in the industry, I think. They just managed to just do such a good job, especially when you think about it. It's every week these strips come on, not every month. There's no waiting around. They've got to be out every week. That image of that like mutant bear is amazing. So a bit of an extra size strip that time. They do these one and done stories as well when they're about to start a new, like in between new strips coming on. So Terry Tales are some, but they always have good artists on it. Richard Elson is one of the best artists out there. John Locke, I think he's a new writer. Nice. Competent artwork, great colouring. And then Full Tilt Boogie continues. Again, the colour palette of Full Tilt Boogie seems to change tonally with each episode. Kind of like a mood shift. Then Indigo Prime continues again, playing about with colours. Colour is quite a big thing in 2000 AD strips. Because they used to start off originally as a black and white anthology series. Now they just do what they want. Sometimes it'll be a colour, sometimes they play with both, sometimes it'll be black and white. But this use is very clever how to do it. And then you've got Proteus Vex again. The art on Proteus Vex is Jake Lynch. who I didn't used to like, but now he's become a really strong, almost like Cam Kennedy style of artist. He does a really nice Jewish thread nowadays. And again, the colouring's really good. It's written by Mike Carroll, who's a solid writer, who's done some good Jewish thread strips. So that's this month's 2000 AD. I'll just quickly flick through Jewish Dread magazine for this month. And this is Jewish Dread magazine, which is £6.99, but you get the 128 pages. It's square bound, European album sized. Nice cover there by Anthony Williams. If you remember that old DC comic, Fate, he was the artist on that. But he's done loads of 2000 AD stuff, but he's been quiet for about, I think he went on to like doing film storyboards. And this is kind of like Judge Dredd meets Aliens. Nice clean artwork. Again, colouring is just superb. There's the big bad alien. This has been a multi-part story. I think this is like the 3rd episode. I'll just quickly look through. And then you do some really good articles, comic-based articles. Like this is a tribute to Paul Neary, who sadly passed away recently. Who was like Alan Davis's go-to ink. He's done loads of stuff for Marvel UK and for 2000 AD and DC as well. And they give a good tribute in looking back at all his contributions to the comics industry. Some really in-depth overview, which was really good reading. And then there's an excerpt from Comic Book Punks, which book I want to get. It's all about the British invasion basically, and the British writers' impact in the UK and on American comics. So this is an excerpt looking at some of the Marvel UK strips. So the Death's Head there. So even when there's not strips in the other the text information is really interesting as well because it's all comic based. And this is a good hard-boiled futuristic noir detective story, DeMarco P.I. This is by Laura Bailey, writing, not from Critical Role, just coincidence, and Rob Richardson on artwork. Yeah, it's a good, fun, old school style detective story, private investigative story with with sci-fi trimmings. And then there's Black Museum. This is these are one and done strips, a bit like Twilight Zone Black Mirror style strips, but set in the Judge Dredd universe. Always have really interesting black and white art. And this one is illustrated by Cam Smith and written by Liam Johnson. Another tribute to another artist who sadly died, Enrique Badia Romero, South American, I think, artist. Did quite a few things for 2000 AD back in the day. And then they do an overview look at Road Trooper, who of course will be getting a lot of attention with his upcoming film. And then there's a really nice cover here, just a nice art piece here by Stuart Kenmore. And they always look at, because the Rebellion bought a lot of basically the whole of the British comics library, so they brought up really nice collections of strips, and they always highlight the classic strip in each month in here. So this is Hellman of Hammer Force, some good old school war comics. I'll just skip ahead. And then really fun strip, Hooked Jaw, basically Jaws, but more bloody. This is by Cy Spurrier, good writer, and Connor Boyle. Not familiar with Connor Boyle, but nice art in this strip. I think this was originally done by Titan, but like I said, Rebellion owns all the license now to a lot of British comic strips now, so they've been able to reprint it. So it doesn't skimp on the gore, but the gore's quite realistic. I'll just flick ahead because there's a lot of story pages in that. 22 pages of story for the Hookjaw one. And there's a Judge Dredd strip as well in here with 22 stories pages. So you get a lot of stories of comic strips in here. Even if you take away the new strips, you end up with still about 80 or 90 pages of comic arts and stories. Judge Dredd, this one is by Mark Russell, for all you Mark Russell fans. Max Dunbar on the artwork. Again, 22 page story. I love this panel, just so cool. Almost like mic drop kind of pose there. Again, just flicking ahead. So that's Judge Dredd, and then one of my favourite characters is Devlin Moore, who's ex-Vatican, gay, vampire, exorcist, who's got a possessed dildo as his best friend. You just couldn't get this in no other comic company would touch this kind of character, and it's just so fun. And the artwork is suitably punk and out there as well. This is by Ailescott on writing and Stephen Austin on the artwork. I've shown this page before, one of the most gruesome pages I've seen in a comic in a long time. So there's that. Really, really good strip. And then Harrower Squad, Cowhub Country. This is basically Judge Dredd but the Scottish version. I've not done about the artwork though in this one. It's by Steve Yore, who I normally like. David Welly's a solid writer, but he's changed his art style a bit. It just feels a bit sketchy. Not sketchy as in dodgy, but just a bit. Just feels, I don't know. He doesn't use blacks as much in his shading. I think that's what it is, but it's still a fun read. So yeah, so that's Judge Dredd magazine. Comes out every month, and it's £6.99, 128 pages, square bound. So that's it. If you liked me doing this new series ISO Cubes, do let me know, and I will do more each time I get four weeks worth of 2000 ADs. Okay, bye. Bye bye.